So I don't have a workbench, and I need a workbench. But in order to build a workbench, I need to have a workbench. So how do you build a workbench without a workbench, you ask? Well, you got to build a workbench. And this wood right here that I'm building the workbench with, I am currently using as a workbench. Does that make sense? No? That's okay. So right here, I'm just checking the straightness of each of these pieces of wood, marking off which ones are the straighter ones. I'm going to use those for like the main structural pieces, and then the wobblier ones I'm going to use for shorter, like cross beams. And oh, here's me sawing something. Okay, so here I'm cutting the pieces for the leg assembly. Obviously there's 4 of those, 3 pieces to each assembly here. This is a cut list I made for myself, as well as a printout of the 3D design on the back, just for reference. I designed it myself, so I don't know if it works in real life yet. So I have to check myself a lot of times over, and having the printout and the cut list is just a good way to make sure I'm doing things as accurately as possible. Oh yes, this is my Steve Ramsey technique of keeping the blade down until it stops spinning. Safety first. Oh yeah, this shot, the tripod wasn't locked down, so it kind of slowly drifted off to the side. Kind of artsy though. And this is me starting to piece together and assemble the leg assembly. Sheesh. It was very cold in my garage. Oh, the light bulb just clicked off. Going to see how to get it reconnected or turned back on. Yeah, anyway, it's cold in my garage and the glue bottle was almost empty, so I'm having to squeeze it super hard, as you can tell, to get anything to come out. I'm in dire need of some better clamps.
This is really sketchy, I know.
You said it, Joel. So now I'm just using this scrap piece of 2x4 as a little spacer, because that's what's going to go in that space. It's just a 2x4, and I keep dropping stuff. Pushing stuff off my little makeshift workbench, which is shrinking by the minute. You can notice that I'm running out of room for that saw back there. Ordinarily, I'd be protecting the wood from the clamp with a piece of scrap wood or a cloth or something, but since this is just a workbench, I don't really care if there are marks, so I'm not bothering to do all that work. And there I go, dropping stuff again. And you can see I left that spacer in there while the glue was drying. That's because even with the clamps in there, you can get some roaming around of the workpiece, so just keep it in there to make sure that gap doesn't shrink or grow.
Leg assembly 1.
Yeah, so I've got 3 more of those assemblies to make, and I won't bore you because it's the same exact process you just saw. So just imagine that happening 3 more times and you're good. These are actually cross bars, cross beams. I don't know the right terminology, but the cross members, is that a thing? I don't know, but I'm carrying them over to some other part of my garage because I need room on my little makeshift workbench, which I'm tidying up because I have taken such pride in it. All right, so here I'm actually getting ready to screw in some wood screws. I know that technically wood glue is supposed to be stronger than the wood itself once it's cured, but I don't trust my gluing skills that much, and I figured I can get some insurance and also have this really cool dowel joinery look. Like I put the whole thing together with dowels, even though there's really just screws in there. But I like the look of dowels, so you'll see in a second. And now I'm getting ready to do the same thing again, but in the daylight. This is the bit I use. This is a Forstner bit. I think it was a 1/2 inch. And then I'm doing a pilot hole and then the screw, which is really important. You don't want to drill the screw in and then drill the pilot hole. That would be bad. Make sure you get the order right. I'm getting really fast at that. So now I'm dropping in a little bit of wood glue into each of these holes that I just made. This is on top of the screw. The screw's already in there. And now I'm putting in this 1/2 inch dowel. Yeah, just kind of working it in until the glue is all set around it. And then using my Japanese pole saw to cut it off as flush as I can with the surface. And this is actually the first time I've used this saw in an actual application. I've only just, my poor workbench is getting so small. I've only used it just kind of messing around, never in working on an actual project. I love the sound that makes. It reminds me of Benihana, the chefs with their spatulas. So yeah, just put the dowel in and kind of work it around until you see the wood glue appear, which you can see right there. And then I saw it off. Hopefully using the right side of the saw. There you go. And that was the last of the leg assemblies. That felt really good to have those done. Oh yeah, except they weren't done. I had to do a little more work on the table saw. Since each leg is in a corner, I had to make room for the other cross member. So that's what I'm doing here, just kind of notching out this piece right here. That's such a satisfying noise. There should be an ASMR woodworking channel. There probably is. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this whole section in just because the sounds are that satisfying. So enjoy. Oh, fits like a glove. Like that glove. So this is me getting the first cross member ready to go. And that is one side of the workbench. One set of leg assemblies, rather.
My fault.
It was my fault. This is my lovely wife assisting me. Just making sure this precarious thing doesn't fall over. Yeah, this is when I realized how wobbly this thing is. Not because the cuts were wrong or the measurements were wrong or anything. It's because the wood is just a little warpy. Oh yeah, there's actually nothing to blur there. I just thought it'd be funny. This is where I walk back and just stand there looking at it like a cowboy.
This is why I love my Japanese pole saw. I just cut this super thin piece.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I had to make this piece fit. One side was a little higher than the other. I'm not sure how that happened because I measured, everything was good, but fixed it. This is just a test fit of the work surface, just a big sheet of plywood, and I stand back like a cowboy again. I was just trying to simulate having a bunch of tools on top of this thing to see if the wiggle would go away. And I legit almost fell asleep. I was there for probably like 3 minutes. I just sped this up. It's still wobbling, but I don't know. I figured with temperature changes and everything, it would be fine. And it did turn out to be great. And then this is just drilling the pocket holes for the cross members on the bottom where the shelf is going to go. I didn't film myself doing the ones on the top just underneath the work surface, but it was pretty much the same process. And then this is just me putting the work surface on permanently. Well, semi-permanently. I wanted to make it easy enough to swap out just once this one gets all dinged up. So that's just screws holding it in. I was going to do the dowel, fakey dowel joinery thing again, but I figured that would make it harder to swap them out. So I decided against it. So I didn't buy enough plywood. This is just the cutoff piece from the one sheet I did buy. And obviously it doesn't fit the bottom quite snug enough. I didn't put that in the video, the actual piece, but it's in there. And yeah, this is the final, semi-final. Just imagine a full sheet on the bottom, and that's it. Hope you guys liked this one, and I'll try to put more woodworking stuff, more like maker stuff on here because I enjoy it. So hopefully you guys enjoy it too. All right, thanks for watching. See ya.